My name is Detective Frankie Zavala. I currently work at the Victorville Station in the Detective Bureau. I've worked for this department approximately 14 and a half years in several different capacities. The journey with the department started in 2010 when I decided that I wanted to become an explorer. I didn't always want to be a cop. I actually had aspirations to work in the medical field. After I graduated high school, I went to college, and that's when I determined that medical school was not going to be in my future. I couldn't do chemistry very well, and I was kind of at a standstill. I was 18, had kind of no idea what I was going to do with my life, kind of hit a lull. And at the time I had a uncle who was a sergeant for our department. He worked in Apple Valley, and he just kind of put it out there that I should try to become an explorer. And that's kind of where it all started. It was all based off of him. I went on my first ride along, and then it was all over from there. And I decided that this department was going to be where I worked, and that's where I wanted to be. So I started, like I said, in 2010 as an explorer. Did that for about 3 years, moved up the ranks doing that, and I had a lot of aspirations to become a deputy after doing ride-alongs and working alongside all the deputies and seeing all the stuff that they got to do on a daily basis. It really intrigued me, and it sparked something inside of me that decided that I wanted to become a cop. Had to wait till I was 20 and a half to apply. I waited that time, and that's when I went through the whole application process. Although grueling, it was something that I felt was worth it, and went through the whole entire process. And that's when I got a letter that told me that I was a non-selected to become a deputy sheriff for the department. It was kind of a turning point. It was very disheartening for me, especially considering I volunteered for the department for 3 years or so, but I didn't let that stop me. My background investigator at the time, he was very adamant that I shouldn't give up, and that there's several different avenues that this department offers that would allow me to pursue my dreams and or find a new dream on this department. So I applied to become a dispatcher and went through the background process on that again, and I was actually selected. 2013 is when I became a dispatcher 1 for the department, and although I did that, I knew in the back of my mind that that's not where I was going to stop. I wanted to be out. I wanted to explore. So then I made a transition, and I applied to be a sheriff service specialist. I got selected to do that, and they sent me to Big Bear. So I got to work in Big Bear for a couple of months before then getting transferred to Apple Valley, and then I did that for a few years. I actually applied to become CSI. I was exploring different avenues, and quite frankly, I was afraid of the process, going through the process of becoming a deputy. It's long, there's a lot of stuff that has to go on, and I was afraid that it might not happen for me. But I swallowed my pride, and I decided to apply, and that's when I finally got selected in 2018 to become a deputy sheriff for this department. I went through the 6-month academy. I was able to learn so much more that I didn't know about this department on the sworn side of things. I graduated in 2018 as the class sergeant for my class, and that's kind of where my journey as a deputy started. I got to start at HDDC, did that for about 16 months, wanted to go out to the street more than I wanted to do anything, and eventually I got that call and I got to go to the city of Hesperia. While doing that, I got to work a multitude of assignments while at Hesperia. Various things from working patrol, working traffic, the Children and Family Services, Adult Protective Services position, and the acting detective spot at the station. And I can't tell you how valuable learning all that stuff was for me in my career. I happened to put in all that work, and I got one of the best opportunities of my life. Actually, in October is when I got promoted to detective. It's where I am now. And I still have aspirations to continue that work and to try to move as high as I can in this department. During my time in corrections, I learned a lot. It's one of those things that not a lot of people look forward to, but I'll be the one to tell you that I did not look forward to it. However, I did take a lot from it. One of the things being that I met a lot of people from different walks of life, whether they worked with me or they were incarcerated, and I learned how to kind of understand them and talk with everybody, no matter where you came from. That has since helped me tremendously in all my investigations when I do have to talk to somebody that comes from a background that's nothing like mine. They want to talk to me. They're not afraid to talk to me. They don't see me as the cop. They see me as another person that maybe they knew in their life. One of the things I'm always asked is why I chose this department specifically. Nowadays, there's so many departments out there. There's all sorts of different opportunities, and people always ask why I chose San Bernardino County as a place to work. And a lot of it is, yes, I grew up in this department. I started when I was 18, and I've worked my way up to where I'm at now. So that does have a lot of things to do with it, but I'd be lying to you if I told you I didn't think of, going somewhere else at some point during that journey based off of whatever was going on in my life at that time. But this department, on top of the things that we already know, you can work in the mountains, you can work at the river, you can work in the valley, you can work in the desert, you can work in the air for aviation, you can work on a boat. There's so many different avenues that you can take on this department, and that's just sworn. Two of the biggest points that I'll make for this department is I get to work in the community that I grew up in. I was born and raised in the high desert, and I've worked multiple cities in the high desert, of literally on the streets that I used to walk as a kid. That's what I'm patrolling, and now I get to see those kids grow up doing the same thing. That brings it home to me, and I love working in the city that provided me my upbringing, and now I get to do for the city what it did for me when I was growing up. But the most important thing that this department has showed me over the time that I've been here is, it's an overused phrase of family, but that's the best way to sum it up. I've been on this department. I've seen a lot of critical incidents that have occurred over the years. One that hits home is one that I was specifically involved in with one of my partners, and I got to see how the department responded to him after being hurt, and he got put in a very emergency situation, and I got to see how, from the top all the way to the bottom, how they responded to help him, help his family, to help those that were directly involved in that situation. It's hard to describe in words, but the actions that the department put forward really solidified that I'm not going anywhere else. I made the right decision, and I couldn't see myself working anywhere else, despite what incentives that they throw at me, because that's something you can't get paid for. If I were to offer any sort of advice to any applicant that's interested in joining our department, don't be afraid. The process is grueling. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say it was easy. It's the easiest thing you've ever done. Before the academy was difficult. Getting into the academy was difficult. The academy itself was very difficult. But at the end of the day, it strengthened me. It made me the guy that I am today. It instilled in me leadership. Things that I never thought that I had in me, it brought it out. So just don't be afraid. No matter what the process is, continue with it. And I promise you a rewarding career with so many different opportunities. The best thing to do now is to prepare now. As you watch this, go to the recruiting events. Ask questions of those that are wearing the badge, or anybody there that's working there. Ask them questions that you have, and figure out if this career is in fact right for you. And join our department.